peace and love to you and to the family, and happy holiday to you and all your listeners. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, thank you, and happy holidays to you and yours. Well, I told a friend of mine that I was going to have you on as a guest, and he remembered buying an album that was released in the early 60s, and you had, on that album, you had a piece titled, We Wonder Where Has All the Gold Gone. You said in that piece that we're buying our cars from Japan, we're walking on Italian marble, we're eating Canadian bacon, we're smoking Cuban cigars, we're walking on Persian rugs, we're wearing Swiss watches, eating imported olives, drinking French wine and Scotch whiskey, and we wonder where has all the gold gone. I'm paraphrasing. It's a funny bit,
Sure.
but talk to me. How do you think things have changed since you made that?
Well, let me just tell you that that's very important, because when your soul and your spirit is lost, then you have to look for prestigious things to fill them back up. And so when you become invisible to yourself, then you have to do things to make yourself visible. I have 10 children and 12 grandchildren and one great-grand. And when you're not paying them attention, they start knocking. They start beating on the baby bed. They start making you see me. In the early days of black folks in America, when we was invisible to all white folks in America. And that's why we knew so much information, because if I was the maid or the butler, they didn't see me. If I was the shoe shine boy, they didn't see me. So they said things that they wouldn't say in front of people. And that's why we had so much knowledge. We was the Pullman porters. We heard rich white folks talking about what's fixing to happen, what the stock market was going to do. And a lot of black folks back then become multimillionaires because of information we had, because we was visible. You had another group of black folks that would wear red alligator shoes, a pink shirt, a green hat, and orange socks. And everybody would laugh at us. In order to laugh at me, you have to see me. Mm-hmm. That's what that was about. Mm-hmm. We put gold in our mouth. Wasn't nothing wrong with our teeth. And if you notice, the ones that had the gold, you older folks that's listening, they were dark complected African Americans. Every now and then you had pimps and hustlers like Malcolm X that had gold, or prostitutes that had gold. That was sporting life. Mm-hmm. But the gold was there. Now, let me tell you how clever this is. That we know that white folks love gold and diamonds, and everybody love it. So I put it in the front of my mouth, and I grinned. If you find the people with the gold, they was always laughing, hoping you see the gold which you love before you see this black that you don't like. So all of that is survival. All of that is an unconscious survival. And so when you start looking at us with the foreign cars and the foreign this and the foreign that, that was to get you to see me. I'm not aware of it. That was a status symbol. Nobody bought a bad foreign car. Nobody bought a cheap foreign car. The Beetle, that was like known all over the world. Everybody's talking about it. So that's what that was about.
Oh, so you're saying that we as a people, black folks, bought expensive things because we wanted to be noticed, because otherwise we were invisible.
No. I'm saying we as black folks bought flashy things, not necessarily expensive. The alligator shoes was when most of them was imitations. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. White America and America started buying those expensive things so you could see me. I was numb. I had nothing in my heart. I lost my spirit. I lost my religion. Everything. That's all Americans, black and white. That's what that was about. Mm-hmm. I wasn't they talk about the grass is always greener on the other side. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so nobody said, hey, Dick got a brand new Chevy. Hey, man, he got a Volkswagen. He got this, he got that. That's what that was about.
Oh, I see. Because I thought it was a commentary on our economy. The fact that we're buying everything.
It was a commentary on our economy, but I'm saying now, when I look back at it,
right.
It was the same thing when black folks was buying, the alligator shoes and the red shirt and the orange hat and the purple tie.
Right.
In order to laugh at me, you have to see me. There's a numbness inside of us. And then we didn't see this other piece coming when we looked at the graffiti. I mean, I'm just going to ask you a question, and it's a silly question. Who do you think was painting graffiti on the wall, young folks or older folks?
Oh, I would definitely think young folks.
All right, now I'm saying this for a reason. Who's in there in the Occupy movement? Basically young folks or old folks?
Well, I think it's mostly young folks, but
okay,
you got some older folks. I
know. We always have that. I'll just ask you a question real quick so you ponder it back. Young folks.
Right.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
Who do the Army draft in? Young folks, they're not drafting one older folks.
Right, young folks.
Young. All right, I say that to say this. It was the young folks putting the graffiti on the wall.
Uh-huh.
And if you went around the world, all graffiti looked alike. If it was in French and Japanese and Chinese, it all looked alike. Then one day you driving down the highway and you see graffiti on the bridge, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And nobody said, wait a minute, how did that get on the bridge? I mean, if the state is going to paint the bridge and put a new screw in the bridge, they shut the highway down. They warn you at such and such a time. There's going to be one lane. They have state troopers out there. How does that graffiti get on the bridge?
Mm-hmm.
And then all at once graffiti left, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then tattoos start showing up. See that transition? Huh? Young folks. You see no old folk, 90 years old with no damn tattoos on. The young folks been yelling out and screaming out, and nobody would listen. And now I think it might be too late.
Well, and I want to talk to you about whether or not it's too late, because we've got Occupy Wall Street going on now, and you saw what happened to the kids at UC Davis campus, right?
Yes.
So what do you know, and I saw you on Lawrence O'Donnell's program talking about that. You know, during the civil rights era, you saw black kids getting water hoses sprayed on them and dogs being let loose on them and the police beating them. But now it's not just black kids, it's basically white kids having pepper sprayed in their face. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, first, let's go back. I spoke to the Occupy Wall Street folks the second week they were there. And the big question they was asking, what can we learn from the civil rights movement? I said, nothing. Nothing at all. You know, to be one white in America, be you rich, poor, tall or short, educated, uneducated, you're born with 300 years of white privilege. You don't have to know that to be born with it. You know, a friend of mine who I hired to work for me, and I told him that, and he said, no, man, that's not. I said, look, light-complected Negroes is born with a privilege. If you look at 80 years of professional sports, 99% of all black professional athletes was dark-complected and from the South, okay? Because if you was light-complected, you didn't have to pin your hopes on outrunning God with a football. Now, all the folks who upstairs who run the stuff, the teams, the sports team, they knew that all of them black men, dark-complected from the South, black professional sports, have had sex with white women because of their Southern mentality. They wouldn't flaunt them. When Jackie Robinson came through and they had to bring him through to break into baseball, they realized that Jackie Robinson was born in Alabama, but when he was 1 month old, his family moved to L.A. area. So he didn't have that Southern mentality. That's why they put in his contract he wouldn't date a white woman for 3 years. You see, we just look at this and just think, no, there's a madness behind it, and the people who run it, most of them understand. Have you ever bit your tongue? You know how bad that hurts, right?
Right.
We didn't see these white children sticking 5, 6, 10 screws in their tongue and they wasn't taking painkiller, okay?
Yeah.
Okay? What does that mean? That's universal law. Anytime I start inflicting pain on myself, Mom and Dad, y'all better watch out because you mix, okay? And so consequently, to get back to the question you asked, so I tell them, you know, you can't, if the most powerful man or person in the world today is the President of the United States, any president. So Obama's the most powerful human being on the planet today. He can't go to New York by himself and stand on a corner next to a wine old drug addict, white third-grade dropout murderer that just broke out of jail and get a cab. They'll run him down trying to pick up that white boy. White privilege, huh?
You don't think they'd recognize Obama?
No. You're not listening to me. That's what I said by himself. Just go there and stay in as an African-American. Okay? All right?
Right.
He can have $10 billion in his pocket. He don't have to be Obama.
Right.
He can be a black person with 12 PhDs and $10 billion in the bank, and it's going to happen. And when we in America stop playing that game and believe you can educate your way or money your way out this thing, you cannot do that at all.
Mm-hmm.
It don't work. And so I was saying to them young white folks there, you can't pattern yourself after our movement because you come with 300 years of white privilege. Let's take an example. Before King was killed, he was getting ready to do the Poor People's Campaign. Mm-hmm. Okay? Nobody. That don't threaten nobody, Poor People's Campaign. Most people who's poor don't recognize themselves as being poor. These white folks came there and say, take back, D.C. See the difference in the name? Take back D.C.? Mm-hmm. Poor People's Campaign? We shall overcome someday. That don't threaten nobody. If I ask you, can I borrow $10,000 from you, I'll pay you back someday, you ain't gonna give it to me. Mm-hmm. King got gunned down because his attitude was today, not someday. And so what King was killed for wasn't killed over civil rights or human rights or segregation. King was killed because he became the first black person in the history of America to get in a position to determine public policy. That's what he was killed about. And so to go back to these youngsters is occupy Wall Street. I was a little boy growing up. Every time I saw the word occupy, I went to the movie. It was a mighty nation occupying a poor nation. Mm-hmm. Listen to the words. They are not Negro words. They're not words that come out of oppression. These are words of oppressed people, but they have a different mentality. And so consequently, there's a whole new ballgame. When I was a little boy, I had a white police chief, white people ran the all-black Negro school, white cops. Hollywood was white. And I go to an all-black church and see a white Jesus and a white Mother Mary. White folks saw people in charge who looked like them. That's why people from the Caribbean, dark folks, can come here and do better than American Negroes. Why? Because as poor and as messed up as they were down there, they did see black folks in charge. We didn't. Mm-hmm. And so altogether, there's a whole different, mentality. It's like when they say N-word, that's an insult to me. I don't even do shows that discuss it. That's an insult. One day, if men feel bad the way we have raped women, and those of us that didn't sit by and didn't say nothing, and so we're going to have women to change the word to the R word, that's an insult. Can you imagine our Jewish brothers and sisters being stupid enough to let some non-Jews decide that we're not going to use the word swastika no more. We're going to call it the S word. In the concentration camp, we can call it the C word. Not one black person sit at the table to determine that word will not be used no more. Mm-hmm. Jesse Jackson wasn't there. I wasn't there. Nobody was there. Well, why did that word get switched, and why were we stupid enough to go along with it? The word got switched because of the O.J. Simpson trial. There are millions of people that believe O.J. Simpson did that. And they believe because of Mark Fuhrman's racist statements and the use of that word is the why he was free. So somebody decided we're going to get rid of it. We black folks are stupid enough to go along with it. If I was in Russia today and I saw so-and-so shot somebody because they call them the N-word, and I look up the N-word, it's the 14th letter in the alphabet, I would think that person that did the shooting had to be stupid. But it's a funny thing. When Governor Perry got in trouble a month and a half ago about that lodge his family was renting.
Exactly.
They said niggerhead. The LA Times didn't say the N-word head. NBC didn't say the N-word head. The Washington Post that broke the story didn't say the N-word head. Well, how come I got to behave, but they don't? Huh?
I mean, you raised so many issues, right? You just raised so many issues. Because I wanted to ask you about your book title, your first autobiography. Would you still use that today? Because it's so offensive and a negative connotation to today it is to use that word.
They used to say gays was offensive, so that's how come they had to hide. They used to say black folks was offensive, that's how come I had to hide. Huh? They used to say ugly people was offensive, so let's hide them. They used to say people with mental problems was offensive, and then when the Civil Rights Bill come through, huh?
Because it's just a word, right?
Kennedy got on TV and admitted he had a sister that's been in a mental hospital all her life. Then it becomes fashionable for people to send their children to schools and have a psychiatrist on the staff, huh? And then it becomes oh, I can't do it Thursday, have an appointment with my psychiatrist. You don't hide nothing away. You don't hide nothing away at all. And so consequently, when the gays came out the closet, they could start getting jobs that they would never ever get before. And when women said, no, we're not going to tolerate this no more. When I was a little boy, I'm 80 years old. When I went to school, a woman school teacher couldn't be married. Huh? If you was worth $10 million, you couldn't go buy a car unless your father, your brother, or your husband signed off for you. Okay? And then all at once the women's movement came through and said, no. Not no more. And then things changed. And I don't know another group of people would be stupid enough as we black folks. We didn't invent that word. Huh? If I say right now, all you hoes listening, stand up, you get mad, you upset. I didn't call your name. Why you claiming something? Huh? Why you claiming something that you're not? If somebody calls you that word, you get upset, but they say, hey, billionaire. You don't get upset. How can you be so sure you'll never be a billionaire? So it got doubts about can you be that word, huh? That's something wrong. And so consequently, when you sit and you look at it, you know, I said, I'm going to do nigger. And I said, dear mom, whenever you hear this word, remember they just advertising my book.
Right.
You take it out of the closet and you hang it up. And you take the sting out of it, huh? And then the next one, I said, Up From Nigger. That was my next book. And then one day when it's all over, my last book will be Nigger No More. Okay?
But you know, but I think when the hip hop guys are using it, they mean it in an offensive way sometimes. No?
You know, you ask them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Don't ask me.
Right.
Ask them. How did they mean it? You know, it's like, you know, we always pick on the weak folks. Or we pick on the hip hoppers,
right,
bitches and hoes and all that. But I don't see nobody talking about them drug pushers standing on the corner. We pick on young black folk by wearing their pants below their butt. But when white folk go to a football game with 100,000 people, halftime they get naked and run all the way across the field. They call that streaking, huh? But when I do it, all black folks in the church, and they want to get together and say, wait a minute, they had a black politician in New York City took out a $42,000 billboard ad in Times Square showing black folk with their pants below their butt. I said, I bet you never put up a billboard, black brother showing a cop beating up some black folks. I bet you never take out an ad in New York City showing drug pushers standing on the corner. Huh? This is what we can pick on the weak, and there's nothing they can do about it. The worst music I ever heard wasn't no hip-hop. It was black blues. We the only group of men on planet Earth that sing derogatory words about my woman. I caught my baby in bed with my best friend. 1, 2, 3, 4, give me more. Shake your money maker. Anytime somebody says shake your money maker, what they talking about your vagina. All right, when you make money with it, you a hoe. But that don't bother black folk. Men and women dance to it. But listen to a hillbilly music. You know, if he ever said anything derogatory about that lady he living in the trailer with, all he says, baby, I'm sorry.
Well, no, I think that's definitely true, that we say bad things about us, black women.
But I'm saying nobody attacks it. The blues, I grew up where everybody took pride in blues.
Yeah.
And I listened to that crap, and I said, I wonder what is this about. Hey, I'm a black man. Between me and the black woman, I'm the most trifling one in this crowd, but my songs don't reflect that.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? That's all I'm saying.
So why do you think that is, though?
Because when you come through oppressed, you see, anytime you accept injustice, you become unjust. Anytime you go along with filth, you become filthy.
Mm-hmm.
One instruction I give my grandchildren, I said, I'll send somebody by to pick you up and drive you past a paper mill. Have you ever been driving in your car, the highway, and past a paper mill?
No.
And smell the stink? You should do that.
Mm-hmm.
There is no stink like a paper mill, except the people who work there don't smell it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We live with this filthy, vicious, ungodly, unspiritual winch for so long. We don't smell America's stink, so we part of it.
Mm.
You know, it's like I work in a garbage. I collect garbage all day long, and then I go there and I work in a packing house, and then I come to your house for a Thanksgiving party, and all I do is go home. I don't take a bath or wash up. I just can't change clothes, and everybody in the party wonders who that is, and they're stinking, including me. America have never washed and took a shower of her racist, sexist filth. You know, we talk about black folks. This boy burned white women at the stake, and all he had to do was call him a witch. He didn't have no trial for her. This is the woman came over on the boat with him.
I mean, you know, this all sounds so dismal. Is there any hope?
Well, you know, I'm examining America, and you ask them for hope. You go to the doctor, they give you an examination. They give you, then they just, that's why America will never make it. We always looking for hope, and the people who ask for hope don't qualify to fix it. I have one of the brilliant minds in the world. I cannot help America get to Mars. But I got enough sense. If I inherited General Motors in the morning, I got enough intelligence and wisdom to go out and bring in the best people money can buy, and we can turn that company around. We so busy want to know what we can do, and damn thing you can do. That's like a man want to know, can I feel the pain of your labor? Can I feel the pain of you having a baby? No.
But we want things to be better, no?
Huh?
We cannot continue to sort of wallow in this negative cesspool. We have to believe that it can change or get better.
Believe it all you want, dear. You can go to bed tonight believing you're a millionaire. You can go to bed tonight believing tomorrow's Christmas. That's jive, baby. There's universal law. You can believe that 12 noon today is midnight and midnight is 12 noon, and it's not going to happen, okay? We keep looking for shuck jive ways out so we can go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Europe for a rally against capital punishment, right? Round trip, first class. They took my tax money off my ticket and bought bombs and ammunition and drop on women and children all over the world. So when they fall on me and my grandchildren, I just look up the sky and say, even time, baby. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. Every time you go buy a loaf of bread, you participate in this filth. Every time you buy a turkey to celebrate Thanksgiving, the tax money participate in this filth. Okay? Mm-hmm. And so one day we can see that we might be able, but we have to see it first. We have to see it. And if you don't see it, you keep wishing that this is going to change. Oh, I'm sorry to death. I wish well you got to eat. Okay? You have to eat. I'm thirsty. You have to drink water. Mm-hmm. You can't wish you can't wish you put gas in your tank. You don't put gas in, you wish it in that tank, or car's going to run out of gas. And that's where America is today. We're about to run out of gas if we haven't already. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And how would you fix it? You would step back and bring in the best ethical, peaceful minds, academic and otherwise on the planet, and maybe they can come up with a plan if it's not too late. You know,
but Obama's not doing that. He's not bringing in the best ethical minds.
Wait a minute. Who said he was going to fix it, dear? See, we always keep looking for a blame. Who said he was going to fix it? Huh? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Huh? I mean, Obama.
He did when he campaigned.
Huh?
He said it when he campaigned.
There's a whole lot of people that say things. I told Neiman Marcus I don't pay him. When I got $46,000 worth of stuff, they still calling me.
So they're just words, but I know you spoke at Troy Davis's funeral,
Yeah.
and yesterday the governor of Oregon said he's not going to have any more executions on his watch.
Yes.
That's a good thing.
Well, let me tell you, not just Roy Davis. See, I really didn't believe they was going to kill Roy Davis. As sick as America is, I didn't realize he was that sick.
Why did you think they wouldn't?
Because of the millions of letters, the Pope's voice, ethical, moral people stood up and said, no, there's too much doubts about this here. The people, the guy that used to run the electric chair in Georgia said there's too much doubts. I thought they wouldn't. So I went and spoke. Well, I spoke at his funeral after, but I spoke at the rally that Friday, and then I left and went to Huntsville, Texas, and we had a group that fasted all night and meditated. That brought one of the guys who pulled off one of the most hideous hate crimes, mainly because we had TV, we could see it, and that was James Byrd.
Right.
And we went there and stood out there and said he shouldn't die. Killing is wrong. And I had a senator, a congressman, about 3 weeks ago. I was going in to testify at a congressional hearing, and the congressman was getting off the elevator. I was getting on, and he came back and said, excuse me, Dick Gregory, can I hug you? He said, when I saw you standing there in front of this evil racist saying he shouldn't be executed, up until then, I'd always been for capital punishment. And thanks to you, I'm not now.
Wow.
I had another guy tell me at the Take Back D.C. movement, a white guy. He said, I just flew in from Oregon. And Mr. Gregory, thank you. I really believe that Troy Davis should have lived, and I believe that those guys that killed James Byrd should die. And now, after seeing you, I don't believe nobody should. See, the electric chair is this. If I do a hideous crime and you give me life in jail, that's punishment. Once you give me capital punishment, that's revenge. There's something wrong with that. Then we Christians cry over the crucifixion of Christ and be for capital punishment. Jesus was killed. He wasn't mugged to death or run down by some drunken chariot driver. The state killed Jesus. So how can you sing, were you there? When they crucified the Lord, which is a cheap song to sing 2,000 years later, we wasn't there then, and most of us wouldn't be there now. And if Jesus Christ came back to America and bugged the wrong people, they give him the electric chair. And then we'll all be walking around with big chairs around our neck. But you can ask the most insane person in the world, and about 90% of them would get it right if my little trifling cousin who can't read or write, Jabbo Jones, in and out of jail. If he came to L.A. today and went in the Hilton Hotel and killed 12 white folks, he's going to die. If Prince Charles' son came over here and went in the same hotel and killed 40 white folks, he's not going to get the electric chair. That don't seem to bother people.
The inconsistencies and the injustice, how it's applied. But it seems to have bothered the governor of Oregon, because he says he won't allow any more executions in his state.
Well, that's good.
That's
and,
good.
And little by little, I'm sure, and that's what I said about the Troy Davis trial. See, I always believed that if we could get somebody to agree that was going to get the electric chair, would you agree that they can do this on TV and let the world see what happened? But no, that wouldn't have been effective as Troy Davis, because the people heard all the inconsistencies in this here, and that did more to end capital punishment in the long run than anything else.
Right. And in your sermon, you said God, in your speech at his funeral, you said God leaves no footprint. So this governor, that's the footprint, not the left.
Well, you see, when God picks you, it leaves no footprint. You don't have to turn on NBC or CBS or look up in the archives. You were picked. And who cares who knows your name? You've already been picked by the universal. There's no footprints that need to be left. And so consequently, we will see things change fast, but I don't know if we waited too long. If we waited too long, You know, when you sit and you look at the what happened in at University of California.
Right.
When you look at, you got to go back and study that. I called a researcher of mine, and I said, I'll have my wife send you these films, study it real good, and look and see what you see, and then fly in after Thanksgiving, lift it down and discuss it. Did you see those pictures?
Yes, I did, of course.
No, I didn't ask you, of course. I just asked you, did you see them?
Oh, I mean, who couldn't? I mean, yes.
No. See, once you give me emotions, then you miss it.
Oh.
Did you see the pictures?
Yes.
Right. Now you saw the cops spray it. Are you aware that that was military spray he was using?
Mm-hmm.
That was different from what we see in the civil streets, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to have special training to use that, right? So now you saw him spraying. Well, here's the problem. You're aware that those students sitting there, they was not chained. You're aware of that. They weren't tied to each other.
Right.
And they weren't handcuffed. You're aware of that.
Right.
Right. Do you know what that do to a cop when I hit you with my best stuff and you don't flinch? You don't cuss me, huh? You don't holler and scream. That's why. Look at that. Look at his, the way he marched up there. What do you mean you're not making noise? Do you know who I am, huh? And now, only God bless you citizens from California when them lawsuits start coming in. You think tuition has gone up now, huh?
It's really going to go up.
Wait till those lawsuits with them good lawyers y'all got out there, wait till they go in and watch the settlements out of court, okay? And so when you look at what those cops was doing, see, they could have did that to Puerto Ricans and Mexicans and black folks, and they could have got away with it. But you're not going to do it. See, the war ended in Vietnam, for you young folks out there, with all the thousands of folks that was marching against the war. What ended the war was Kent State. They went up there and shot those children down like they was rabbits. They did that before. They did it in 2 black colleges. Huh? They did it in 2 black colleges. It made the news one day and saw. And what they found out at Kent State, they brought the National Guard out. We'd teach them a lesson. And they had one of the National Guardsmen was dressed like a student. He was in the ranks. And he pulled out a gun and shot at the National Guard. The National Guard didn't know it, and they shot back. The students chased the shooter. He ran right to the National Guard, and they opened up and let him in because some folks knew that was planned. And then when they shot them children down, and the world looked at white children being shot down, that ended the war. In 1968, when Mayor Daley and them thuggish Democrats thought they would be able to explain to the Republicans, we just as hard on crime as you are. And then white students came in there to demonstrate. And them white people came in from all over. And they closed off Lincoln Park. In other words, if you and I are cops and we got 30,000 people, you can't arrest all of them. So you create what you call a funnel. You leave an opening so when you drop your tear gas, people can run to that opening and get out of there, and then you pick off the leaders. They put a ring around the park with no opening when I dropped that tear gas. Anywhere I ran, I had to bump into a cop. That's why I go down in history as a police ride, and it backfired on the Democrats, huh? And so people looking at white children getting beat up by cops. They've seen this. Why do you think with the thousands of black cops in America, why do you think you never read the news or pick up TV and see a white family crying every other day? This Negro cop shot my husband or my brother, my sister in the back of the head 40 times. Why you think you don't see? You think better cops? You think black cops are better trained and more spiritual? No. Black cops got enough sense to know the white folks ain't going to tolerate it. And when you get to the point you don't tolerate nothing, it stops. And so consequently, as black people, I'm a black man, and one of the wide hip black dudes on the planet, baby. And I ain't never heard a black man come to me and say that white racist cop took his nightstick and hit my I don't know if you can find a black man in America that said a white cop hit his car because there's something in that white boy's spirit that he know you can kill my mama, my brother, my child. Don't mess with my car. Huh? It's kind of, huh?
You know, Stephen, I know my listeners are looking for answers. They want answers.
Baby, let me tell you something. My oldest son, I have 10 children, right? And my oldest son, Gregory, I got one daughter is the bureau chief for all sex crimes and murders in all of Brooklyn. I got another daughter, had 2 PhDs in sex harassment at the workplace from the London School of Economics. And if she came to testify for you, there's nobody they can bring in because right now she's recognized as the only authority on the planet. I tell you that because all my children are brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest son called me one day and said, Dad, you got to come to Dallas. I'm moving to crack. I said, I can't help you, son. I said, I never smoked a reefer. And don't call your mother. She never drank a beer, of which he said to me, Dad, you go all over the world helping people. I said, son, stop your emotions. If the doctor would have told you you had a brain tumor, you would not call me to Dallas to cut your head open. Okay? So I'm saying to you now, what qualifies your listeners to change something just because they listeners? Huh? Huh? I can listen to your show every day. That do quite qualify to be a brain surgeon until I go take the training and know all the facility. That's why we always want a cheap way out, and that's why it's not going to work. America do not bring you into the military and send you to the front line the first day, and if you're not up to snuff, they will get you out. It's called 4F, okay? You cannot go to Notre Dame or UCLA football team and just because you want to play football, you play. But when it comes not a game, but real life, then let anybody call in my listen. The people that can solve it, there are people out here that solve it. Go look for them, huh? When something happened to your car,
Mm-hmm.
you go find people who know how to work on an engine,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
huh? If your baby choked to death and start choking, you run and take it someplace that can go down there and get that quarter out and swallow it.
Well, that's why I came to you. Because I'm thinking you've gone to the...
Here, I would not waste my time when I go to seminars. Look, if you had a show today on how we're going to get to Mars, right?
Yeah.
With your intelligence, you'd bring scientists in, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You wouldn't bring just some street people off the street. Well, why don't you do it when it comes to science of human problem?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
If you was going to talk about, why arthritis creates one, you wouldn't just get somebody with arthritis. They don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You bring people in and tell you, people who's been trained, people who's then you will come up with some solutions.
Okay, so what we're saying, what I'm understanding, there's no will to solve it.
There's no will to solve it because everything, when Kennedy said we're going to put astronauts up there in the space, didn't they do it?
Mm-hmm.
Did they come on the street and beg people, give me some ideas? Or did they go and give billions and trillions down to the universities, to the scientists? Did the Russians just come out in the street and say, because then, you see, we're so disrespectful when it comes to something we really don't want to do, because in our heart, we don't want to see it change.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what let me tell you what the Senate and Congress did the other day. President Obama and his wife went out and campaigned for nutrition in schools, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And they said ketchup is not a vegetable, and pizza is not a nutritionist meal, and French fries has no nutritional value in it. And for those of you who listen, if you believe that French fries and pizza and ketchup is all that good, then when y'all go out to meet with the family tomorrow for Thanksgiving dinner, see if you have pizza. see if you have French fries, huh? So here's what happened. So he got it, executive order, and then a bill came up, a money bill, and the lobbyists came to the Senate and Congress folks and said, we need you to do this. So they decided that they would not push the bill through to run this government for the next month unless that part came out. Well, let me tell you, pizza is a multi-trillion-dollar business. It's a multi-billion-dollar business in the schools. Pizza that you come to your school, they've been in a warehouse for 18 months to 2 years. You see, with 53 million people eating lunch in schools, you can't make them pizzas last week. They in the warehouse frozen ketchup. They said they end up saying 2 teaspoons of ketchup is equivalent to a cup of fresh vegetables. That's what them thugs did to our children. And you know the sad part about it? Hitler, as vicious as he was, there is no evidence that he would have let that happen to German children. He might do it to Jews. But I doubt if he would have done it to German children. These thugs in Washington, D.C. just let money folks come in and decide for our children that this is what you will have for lunch. Who cares about you? This is America. And you know, you always have this whole thing, what go around, come around. Well, Americans should stop saying that because one day it's going to come. You know? We always said, you reap what you want.
So,
well, we know this mess.
Right.
If I go plant me a watermelon and put a cucumber seed in, it's going to be cucumbers that come up, not watermelons. And all of this stuff, just like you plant a seed. You ever seen them one of the little big watermelon seeds? And you plant it, it comes up this big watermelon. All this hatred, meanness, and nastiness we plant it in our spirit, that one day we might find out where the tumors come from.
I saw a video of you talking about the food sources, and, you know, I hear you. And that's something that you spoke to about what we should be aware of. But as you said, as getting back to the will, there's no will. But, you know, I didn't ask you, do you feel like taking callers? Because I got the phone.
Oh, yeah, please.
Let's take some callers. Let's take Brandon from Alabama. Hi, Brandon.
Hi, Kathleen. Hi,
God bless you.
How's it going?
God bless you. Your name is London?
Brandon.
Brandon, sorry. Well, happy holiday to you and your family and all of your neighbors. Thank you much for calling.
Thank you. I was wondering 2 things. First of all, do you still live in Chicago?
Oh, no. I've been living in Plymouth, Massachusetts since 1973.
Oh, okay. Because
yes.
I was going to ask you about Rahm Emanuel. But secondly, I love what you said about what comes around goes around. Because the second thing I wanted to ask is the idea that America is losing its place in the world, that it is diminishing.
America always has. This didn't happen on the Bush's watch or Obama's watch. This happened 30 years ago. The decline. You know, they said the rise and decline of the Roman Empire. Well, maybe we should read that and you find out before it went down to point blank, it started declining. It's a 50-year decline. You have to go. Remember, when the baby is born, you didn't just get pregnant today.
Yes.
America is almost like you ever been driving down the highway and see this dead skunk and you smell it? Have you?
Well, I have.
Okay, but the skunk is dead. You smell the stink. Don't mistake the stink for life. America is like the dead skunk on the highway. And I'm not somebody that bash America. I stake my life into trying to turn this thing around. So all y'all want the easy way out and say he just don't like America. If you could put online what Dick Gregory had put online to change this country, then maybe you can sit at the table and talk to me. But I examine it, and it's just like a doctor. You examine it, you look at it, and you say, okay, here's the prognosis. Well, what can we do? And the doctor look at you and say, it's too late.
So that's your answer. See, because I asked you, what can we do? And you say the doctor says it's too late.
No, it's too late. But in the process, do you realize the church, right? The Catholic Church picked their first Polish pope, remember? and 1.5 million white folks left the church. I ain't never heard no white person walking out of a whole house because a Polish dude walked in.
I didn't know that stat.
Huh?
I didn't know that stat. Because they chose a Polish pope?
Yeah, all you do is type it up on the computer there. When the pope before this one was Polish, when he was inaugurated, 1.5 million white folks left the church. We're not talking about a whole house or a football game or a bullfight, okay? Mm-hmm. So if that institution is that corrupt, what do you think about all the rest of them?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, ma'am, for calling.
We're going to take another caller. Do we have Leo on the line? Hello?
No, we do not.
Oh, we miss Leo. Okay, well, I mean, you say there's no hope. There is no will.
You know, even when there's no hope, you still keep fighting, but you have to know it. You got forest fighters, huh? Mm-hmm. You live in California, and forest fighters go out there. Let me tell you what I've heard when I was little. I didn't live in California, so I didn't know about no forest fires. But I used to always listen. We didn't have TV. We had the radio. Mm-hmm. And they talk about the raging fires and the wind. And then you hear the governor say, if we don't get a shift in the wind, we can't save it. And now I'm 80 years old, and I never remember reading where a state burnt down. What do shift in the wind mean? It's out of our hands. We have no control over it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So what we got to look for now is a shift in the wind. That comes from the universal God force. Mm-hmm. The universal God force. When you go home today, no, don't go home, just on the way to where you're going to stop by a drugstore and go to the toothpaste section and pick up the toothpaste and get the real big one, so the print. And it says, if you swallow, warning, if you swallow a tea-sized piece of this, one of the little bitty green peas, call not your doctor, not go to the emergency ward, call the Poison Control Center. That's in your toothpaste, okay? That's what these thugs put in the toothpaste. How do children take toothpaste that's sweet and not know that it's not candy, okay? This is America. This is a game they play, huh? Why do you think you cannot go and buy malt liquor in a white neighborhood, or did you know that?
Oh, my gosh. You mean to tell me on the toothpaste they say call Poison Control?
Is there someone in the studio, real quick, that has some toothpaste? All you got to do is read the label. It says call the Poison Control Center, okay? That's there. And so, when I said, like I said, did you know that you cannot buy malt liquor in the white neighborhood?
No, I didn't know that.
Because they got a thing in it called manganese, right? And once you get enough manganese, you'll kill your mama. And then people wonder about this violence in the black community.
Right.
Okay, it's Coca-Cola is in court now, federal court. When soda pop, there's an expiration date on all soda pop. Mm-hmm. And once it reaches that date, you're supposed to throw it away. Well, some black folks and some white folks have been working for Coca-Cola for years. They decided to blow the whistle. And they said, well, what we've been doing is they have us pick up all these expired Coca-Colas from the white community stores and take them to a warehouse in northern Dallas and redate them and take them to the black community. And so if my mama was alive and she drank one, she said, I'd have to go see the doctor. Must be something wrong with me. Every time I drink one of these Cokes, I get heartburn. They never blame it on the Coke. And so I'm saying if Coca-Cola is doing that, you think the pharmaceutical companies might be doing that too? And so it's the whole
corporatization of America.
Yeah, and that's what these young folks is talking about. And did you see when the president said he's going to bring the soldiers home from Iraq at Christmas? There was something wrong with that picture. Did you notice when he was standing there was no general standing next to him?
No, I didn't notice that.
That's not protocol. You know what he's bringing them soldiers home for?
What?
The occupiers.